is Yvonne.
Hi, Jennifer here.
And we are doing episode 23 today.
Of our podcast, Raised to Obey.
Right?
So,
I just assume if you're here, you know the name.
for those who are just joining in, I don't know. Welcome back to our podcast, Raised to Obey. Yeah,
Good.
who knows? Somebody, I don't know who's gonna just start
start
on episode 23, but
you never know. I mean, I get things on my podcast all the time, like, new episode, blah blah blah, and I'll be like, oh, and I'll click on it, and then it'll be like episode, season 2, episode 5, and I'll be like, nah, fuck, I'm not gonna. Don't really want to go back. Depending on what it is, I'll go all the way back and listen to it. But yeah. So if you were just now chiming in, then yeah, I really would recommend that you do go back to the very beginning of our podcast. Yeah, so you can understand why we are here and why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because you really do have to go back to the beginning of our podcast. That said.
Yeah, of course, as always, we are sitting here like, hey, what do we want to discuss today? What do we want to talk about? And I thought there's some questions here that are really good. And one of them is, if someone listening is still carrying the silence, what would you want them to hear from you today? I don't know, girl. I'm gonna start crying again. Where's the tissues?
There, the tissues already out. You want to go first?
Yeah. That's a good question. Maybe we should have thought about that a minute before we started. What would I want them to hear today? Yeah, if you're still silent about it, if you haven't told anybody, I would suggest telling one person that you trust very dearly, even if it's a therapist, because they have the patient
confidentiality.
I mean, you can't tell anybody anyway if that would be your concern, but people in your family, friends groups, whatever would find out, because even though you might trust somebody, you never know.
Right.
Like,
oops.
Okay.
I don't know what that was. Something just fell down. My advice would be, if you don't have someone to talk to, or you don't think you can trust someone with this, would be to at least write it out.
So that's what I was gonna say. I mean? My is like, I don't have a journal. I don't write my thoughts down, because that's one of the things that's always in the back of my mind if somebody finds it and reads it, and I don't want that. I would rather tell somebody that I know if you trust. I know that anybody that I had said this to never said anything out, to anybody else.
I didn't mean like in form of writing a journal. I meant just in form of writing it on
you
paper.
Could write it down and burn it.
You could burn it.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's I'm big on burning.
Yeah. Well, that's also very good. Yes, you can write it down and burn it.
Because it needs to come out somehow.
Yeah.
Because as you and I both know, if you don't let it out, it's eventually going to come out somehow anyway. It'll only stay in your brain so long before your body says, okay, it's enough. We have to deal with this now. And you'll start manifesting other qualities, other not qualities, other symptoms, right? Like you'll start having anxiety attacks. That's how it started for me. I started having anxiety attacks, and I was like, "The fuck?" Yeah, I jumped out of airplanes. I was in the army, and I'm like, I just went down an elevator, and all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. What the hell, right? Yeah. So I think it's good to get like, for me, that would be my advice. Would be the first step would be write it down. And if you don't want anybody to read it and find it, then tear it up, throw it away, burn it. Burning it is your best option, right? In a fireproof glass, of course.
Yeah.
Throw the fireplace, something.
Yeah.
Because it needs to come out. You need to find a way to start letting it out.
So that might be like also then a first step. Okay, that's the first step. I wrote on a piece of paper. I told somebody in confidentiality, and then you feel okay, it's out.
Right. There are also, I know in the States, I've never heard about it here in Germany, but I know in the States there are hotlines free of charge, where you can call and anonymously speak to.
Yeah.
Um, they're not always certified therapists, but they're people that have been trained to help, to listen, you know. And I'm not talking about like suicide hotlines. They're just really therapeutical hotlines that you can call and talk to someone, and you can stay anonymous, you know.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think that would be, if you were in a country that offers this service, that would be another way to start to let it out. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's a good.
Um,
Yeah.
I have my ex sister in law. Her one of her brothers worked at a psychologist center, and they provided a service like this. I mean, he's a certified psychologist. Um, to do like therapy and stuff, and he worked on these hotlines. That's how I know about that, you know. So I think that's a good option if you live in a country that provides that, because like I said, you can be anonymous. You can say, you know, hi, my name's Mary, and you know, whatever, let it out, right? I mean, nobody has to, they're not like tracking your phone number, or you know.
I mean, if you are religious, I'm not. We're not.
No.
If you
I'm
are,
like,
you
what do you want
can
to go to
go
priest?
to priest
um
confession. I'm just saying. There's a
yeah, yeah, of
that is an
course. I
option
mean,
for those who believe, who
mm-hmm.
are you know, in the church.
Right.
I'm not, you know, like I said, I am not, but I never not gonna bag on anybody who is.
Yeah, I mean, if that's
That's
how you
everybody's
believe,
right
right?
to do whatever what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to be like I'm condescending, you know.
Right.
And be like, what I do is right and what you do is wrong.
Yeah, no,
Everybody
definitely.
has their.
Yeah, everybody has their own ways and beliefs, and if that's your thing, that's another option, of course. Um, yeah.
I like
So
that. I like that a lot, though. That would have been like if I would have like had known that back in the day or when I first
you mean
started.
like the hotline
No,
or
no,
what?
writing it and burning it.
Writing, yeah.
And like so, you feel like you have had said it out. I mean, you can say it
Right.
out loud. You can read it out loud and then
Right.
burn it, and it just
Right.
like
And
it's.
I mean, for me, the nice part of writing it down and burning it is it's not anything new. Like a lot of the craft that you and I practice is very folklore type craft, you know. Um like it's been done for centuries, you know. And this writing it down and burning it, just the act of burning whatever it is that you didn't want, wanted to let go, were wishing for, whatever, has been done for centuries, you know. So I don't know. I guess it's like in my DNA, you know, from my Viking ancestors to my Mexican ancestors, you know, we've been doing this shit for centuries. So yeah, there's just like you said, there's just something about writing it down and then burning it, you know. And it's a great way to, and I'm not saying as soon as you write it down and burn it, it's gone, you
Mm,
know. The burning it would be for this person, just that, you know, because they don't want anybody else to find out about it, right? um but there is something very satisfying in, for me,
yeah.
in this act of burning whatever it is, be it something I want to release or something I'm wishing for, or you know, somebody I don't, you know, want to deal with anymore. Yeah, so I think that would be a good possibility. I was going to say Möglichkeit. A good possibility for someone. Write it down. Like I said, if you're in a country that has a hotline that offers services like that, where you can call and talk to somebody. Um, if you can afford to see a therapist, of course, you know, depending on where you live, that's always a good option, because like you said, because of the patient confidentiality, you know, they can't go around telling everybody, you know, hey, Mary was in my office the other day and guess what she told me, you know, they
Yeah.
can't go around and do
Yeah.
that.
No.
Yeah, then like you said, you know, if you're religious, you know, a priest or a pastor, yeah. And if you're lucky enough to have a really good best friend, like I do, you know, you could always confide in that person. Yeah, you know, family for me is touchy,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, it could be that you have like a really good family unit, support unit, if you
Yeah.
will, that you could confide in them. And I would also say the younger you can start this process, the better off you're going to be. You won't be as
Well, you won't carry. I feel like I wouldn't carry this into my. Not everybody's gonna be a mother, but for me, I
right.
think I carried it with me in my life, through my life, and
Mm-hmm.
with my kids until I started. And this was 22, 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't even also been that long for
It
me.
hasn't been that long, right?
Um, to where I was like, yeah, breaking the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, breaking the cycle of like, this was, with my oldest. I was like, I'm not gonna hit her. That's not
Mm-hmm.
what I'm gonna do, and
Right.
things like that. But like, yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
not being carrying it with you, your adult life.
Right.
It does
Mm-hmm.
affect you in ways like that you just you don't know, like
Like when you say something and you hear your own mother coming out of
oh,
your
I
mouth,
hate
right? And you'd
that.
be like, I swore I was never going to say that to my own kids, right?
I hate it when I do something. I'm like, dude, I just sound like my mom.
Right.
And everybody, I think, has that experience.
Yeah, I
Like,
think so too.
it's I don't know, it's sounding like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just like, I don't want to ever be like that, and then somehow you are.
Right.
Just weird,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. I know. Like, so for me, one thing was, I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second. For me, one thing was, when we were growing up, my mom would often call us huerco chingao or huerca chingao, right? Depending if she was speaking to my sister and myself or my brother, right? And that basically means translated fucking bastard or damned bastard,
damn.
right?
Uh huh.
And of course, when I was growing up, she used the word, huerco, like, hello, right? And so for me, it was just like a slang for you kid. And then, once I was older and started learning proper Spanish instead of just the Spanglish that was spoken in my hometown, I was like, damn. Like she was cursing us every time she said that to us. And I mean, it was because that's how her parents spoke to her, right? Um, and that was one of the things that I was like, I'm never going to say that to my child,
But that's
you
funny
know?
because they say it would be a bastard child,
Yeah,
but you're not.
you're damned bastard
But you're
child.
not a
But you're not
bastard.
a bastard child, but you're still being cursed. Like everything we say, right, is either a blessing or a cursing. And so you're being cursed constantly. So I know when I was like when I had my son, I was like, I'm never gonna say that to him. And of course, I said it once or twice, it just like, came out
Yeah,
and I was like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Uh huh.
I need to put a ban on
Mm.
myself, like, man, if that would work, that would be really cool. But anyway, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ever saying that to my kid again because first of all, he's not a bastard, and second of all, I'm not going to be cursing my child, just because he like, knocked over the water, or, it was always something stupid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Uh huh.
Um, yeah, so that's just there was a tangent that I
That
wanted to go
reminds
off
me
to.
of last week when I spilled the water, and you're like, "It's just water,"
Yeah, I know.
and I'm like, "Oh
She
my
was she
gosh!"
was freaking out, man, and I was like, dude, it's only water. Leave it, man. It's gonna dry.
Just put a towel on it. I'm just
I
like, "Oh my gosh!" And we gotta leave, and you're just like, "Bro, it's
it's
water.
water.
Chill
But
out."
I'll tell you what. That came about. My son was really little, and we were visiting an aunt of mine. My brother from my mom and his wife. This is the aunt that figured everything out before anybody else ever even knew, and I never told her anything. Right? I think she's a witch too, but anyway,
Oh,
um,
uh-huh.
she probably would say she's a witch. But anyway, um, and we were in her house, and she has like trinkets everywhere. Right? She like collects stuff, and she's got and it's all really tasteful. But and my son was really little, and he knocked over something, and I was like, "Oh my God, be careful!" Like all freaking out, and she was like, "Did he hurt himself?" And I was like, "No," and she was like, "Why are you freaking out?" She's like, "It's material shit." it can be replaced, and if it can't be, then oh well, too bad. But did he hurt himself? And I was, and when, and that was like for me, like, wow, eye opener. She's right. I mean, of course, if it was like a Fabergé egg or something that he broke, I'd be like, fuck, yeah, I'm insured, but but I mean, something like, you knock over a glass, you spill some water, you broke a plate, oh my God, did you cut yourself? Are you okay? What's the big deal? Why are you freaking out? Another little story, my ex-sister-in-law, she had a friend who had kids around the same age as my niece and nephew, and the mom of these kids, she was like, you could eat off her fucking floor. It didn't matter which one. It didn't matter if you were in the kitchen. It didn't matter if you were in the bathroom. She was like always cleaning. The house had to be always spotless. And both her kids, they were in high school. I think one was a senior, one was a freshman, something like that. They were involved in a car accident with a drunk driver.
Oh no.
And she lost both those kids.
No. Oh no.
And it was really sad.
Yeah.
And the only thing that she could say once they passed, this always makes me tear up because I'm just like, oh my God, is she wished that she would have taken less time to clean the house and more time to spend time with those kids. And that happened when my son was little also. And that was another thing that I was just like, spend time with this kid. He's only going to be little once, I mean, look, like, today's his birthday, is 23. Yeah,
yeah.
And I'm really glad that I always took so much time to spend time with him. You know what I mean? Like before he went to kindergarten, I was a stay-at-home mom. My mom gave me shit for that, but like in her narcissistic way, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky your husband lets you stay home. Your dad never let me stay home.
I bet you he would have.
I was like, bitch, did you ask? Did you say, you know what I mean? Like, I never experienced that. You said to my dad, I ain't gonna do it. My dad was like, the fuck you ain't. My dad like never said anything. If she was like, I'm going here, I'm going there, he was like, yeah, all right, He just wanted dinner on the table and, Miller Lite in the fridge and, ice cream bars in the freezer, and he was happy, but whatever. So, yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's one of the things that really was when we're living here in Germany, that you get that time for your kids when they're born.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, I mean, I got to stay home.
Now they don't get as long as we did. I mean, I was home for 3 years and still got a little bit of money, right? I think now they get like the first year, and then after that they don't get anything depending on how their work contract is, right? But the only thing that's guaranteed is that their job is guaranteed for up to 3 years, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was that was for me very important, to be able to spend that time with him. And then, like once he started school, I worked, I worked part-time, and I made sure that I was home when he came home from school, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's sad though. Like when somebody passes that you're like, damn, I wish I would have had more.
Yeah, I would have spent more time with them.
It's like when they ask like older people in retirement homes, like, okay, what advice can you give, younger people, and they say things like that. You know?
Like enjoy the minute, and what is it? You read something often, like something to the effect that the past is a past and the future is a future and today is a present. That's why you should enjoy it, because it's a present, right?
Yeah.
Like,
today is
it's a gift,
Yeah.
And I often think of that too, like nobody's promised tomorrow, so enjoy today. Some people say live for the moment.
What's that? Carpe diem?
Carpe diem, seize the day. Yeah. I like that a lot better than YOLO.
YOLO. I love YOLO.
Yeah.
You only live once.
Yeah, but I don't like the way that people use it. In like, I mean, you see like You know, I'm gonna eat this big ass bowl of ice cream because YOLO.
YOLO.
You fucking got diabetes, but YOLO, right? You know, okay. Or
You know that one
people that are
episode,
drinking, you know,
that one episode from Golden Girls, and they're talking about eating the cake.
yeah,
That was a really good
synonym acronym.
no yeah, I know the word. I'm
The
not.
word, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Name. Okay, it's gone. But that was a good analogy.
Analogy. There you go.
A good analogy of like, yeah, like why I'm not gonna eat the cake because and why
Right.
why, because I want to be happy. I want, you know, there's just this like of course there's circumstances and health issues for where you can't eat a fucking chocolate cake, you know, if you got diabetes, but then you got other forms like no sugar, keto, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, like it's, I guess it's just the analogy of, you know, the YOLO.
Right.
Or yeah, live for the moment. You know, if you want the piece of cake, eat it, because you know tomorrow's a new day.
Right.
It's not like you eat a piece of chocolate cake every day. I mean, if you do, but fuck it, you know.
Exactly. I had a customer yesterday, and she comes like every day, and she orders the same thing. And yesterday she came, and I was like, "No cake today," and she was like, "I can't eat cake every day." And I was like, "Well, you could, but yeah, I get it, you know." I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool, you know."
Yeah.
So, you know, good way to keep yourself in check. She was like, "Once a week, that's enough," and I was like,
Okay.
Okay. You know, I mean, she's an older lady,
Yeah.
you know, and like it's one of the, we have a lot of older customers that come like every day at the same time and drink their coffee and, you know, like I just want an older gentleman. He always comes in the afternoon. He always comes around 3 p.m. and he orders either a regular coffee or a cappuccino. And he always if we have strawberry, whatever it is, he gets a piece of strawberry, whatever it is, you know. Um, and he came yesterday, and I was like, cappuccino and a piece of strawberry pie, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna have cheesecake today." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Girl, you can't eat the same piece of cake every day." I was like, "Okay." You're not married, are you? No. And he's probably like, oh God, he's probably like 80. You know,
he's like, I want to try.
I want variety.
Exactly. Gotta try all this stuff out here. I'm like, and then there's.
I just thought it was so funny. I mean, I just smiled at him and said, "Oh, you're right," but inside, dude, I was dying laughing, man.
Yeah, that's funny. Can't eat the same piece of cake every day.
Same piece of cake every day. Like, alrighty then, Casanova.
That's probably, I like say what the piece of advice I could give is to tell.
Yeah.
Say
going back to our original question, right?
Like,
I mean, for me, it's you need to get it out somehow.
It's the first step.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I didn't tell anybody for the longest time because the person I told who was supposed to protect me didn't believe me. So I mean, that experience made me not telling anybody because I didn't think they were going to believe me.
Right.
And that haunted me for a long time. And even now, today, if I say something, it's still way back there. Like, you know, like, oh, she's, you know, she's just saying that, or this is Me Too movement, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Where a lot of people started coming out, you know, saying, yeah, this happened to me too. And it's just like, because one person had the courage to say something, helped other people, and then you get, you know, a backlash like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know. Now all these people coming out of the woodwork saying that something happened to them, and it's like, you don't. I really honestly hope that women wouldn't say this just to get attention,
right?
Because if something like this happened to you and you're gonna lie about it, that's pretty messed up.
That's just fucked up in the head, man.
Like,
sorry,
to claim that something like this happened to you. I mean, it has happened. Right. Where women have claimed they've been raped and it wasn't true.
Yeah, definitely.
And
sadly.
And this is like, okay, that shines a bad light on people who have had this happen to them. Yeah. This trauma in childhood, or it doesn't even matter. I mean, there's
it doesn't matter if it was in childhood or if it was in your teenage years or in adulthood. The trauma is there regardless, you know. And for someone to not have had it happen and then say that they lived through something like that, that's, you're sick in the head, sorry. Because I know how I feel having to live with it, and I know how much I wish I could make it go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you
like
wish.
be done with it, like deal with it, be done with it, close that chapter, let's move on. But it doesn't work that way. It's always going to be there. And
You
I'm
know,
always going to know that it happened. So why would you pretend something? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like someone who said, "Oh, I was raped." Why would you pretend that? You know? Like why would you make that shit up, dude?
For attention.
Yeah,
Oh
but how
my god.
fucking sick is that? That's what I'm saying. How fucking sick is that, dude? I don't know.
So yeah, advice I could if I would want somebody to hear from me today. Um we have, what was the other question? The hardest part of healing that people outside this experience might not understand.
Where are you?
8.
There. Okay. Um.
The
Hmm.
For me it would probably be like the even though I didn't like want this and it happened to me, I still felt now, not anymore, but I feel still okay. I still I still felt shame.
Mm-hmm.
I felt shame and ickiness and like um and that was really hard for me to heal from, like the healing part of that. Like I know I've said this in other episodes, like I felt shame after having sex, I felt shame after pleasing myself, because it was just like and when I had worked with one of my friends who is a mental coach, or like one of the sessions that I had with her, where she was able to help me get over that.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. I was really just so thankful, because that shame was gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a hard, like, I don't know I don't know if this is something that only happens to women, even men, who have been sexually abused.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's something you experienced. I don't remember. You didn't think you did.
The shame.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Because that was like a lot for me, was like trying to like, because you say, when you go into the one of not, being like a nun and not having sex at all, or into the other promiscuous and just going out, and it wasn't like, when it was just like that, it was just like
Mm-hmm.
a, I don't even say one night stands, because I never really did that either. I really like, no, because I'm trying to think back of, like, my relationships, like my first, like, boyfriend that I loved him, he loved me, like we
Mm-hmm.
were to each other, like both for each other, like our first love, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Right.
um it like, I'm trying to think back at that time, like after we had sex, if I felt like this shame, and I don't know how to describe it. It was just really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And when like I said, when I had my friend and she helped me, and like, so like it was gone, and it felt really good to not have that, like,
Mm-hmm.
um so I don't know if other people who have not been sexually abused feel shame after sex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that would be a question for people out there who have not been raped or
Abused.
sexually
Right.
abused,
If
or
they have that.
if they have that, even though they haven't been. It's
Mm-hmm.
just something that happened to me,
Right.
um, and being super happy, like that's gone. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's um like, I really, if I'm being honest, it was the hardest part of healing.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
yeah, getting that shame gone, because it's kind of still there. And then the other thing is telling my story, saying it out loud, telling somebody that this happened to me, and then like saying this to you, and you're like, "What, girl? That happened to you too?" Instead of, "Yeah, right, really? Are you sure?"
Right.
And I was like, like I'm always shocked then when somebody's like, "Really? They're like, like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I'm sorry that happened to you." Like instead of that, like, "Yeah, right, whatever." Can't,
Right.
yeah, I don't believe, like, yeah, like, yeah, yeah,
like you're just making it up, right?
And and like that's also been hard for me to be able just to say it out loud, and not, and that for a couple of seconds after you say it, and you're waiting for that person's response, and they're like, and also seeing people, and they're like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, thanks," and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, thank you for sharing," and I'm like, "What?" Like,
right.
It's like can breathe because people believe you, and that was also really hard for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going back to the first question of what you would, from telling something, if somebody that's carrying this, to tell somebody.
Right.
For me, it was really hard just because I did tell somebody in the beginning and they didn't believe me. And this person was supposed to protect me. This person was supposed to
right,
save me from the fire, or I don't know, but like, and they did it. And so that was just like, from that moment on, I was like, oh, like, people don't believe you when you say things like,
right, when you tell the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. It's just a cup.
It's just a cup.
And water.
Well, I don't know. That cup, I might be upset.
Oh. I'll get you another one.
But the glass you can break. So for
just
me,
go to McDonald's and get another
exactly. They might have World Cup glasses right now too. I don't know. I haven't been to McDonald's in a long time.
Ooh, let's go.
Let's go. We're done. So for me, I think the hardest part for me has been,
well, like outside is what's hard for you that people outside the experience might not understand.
Right. And yeah. For me, it was and still is sometimes talking about and feeling the emotions. You know, it was really hard for me to let myself cry. It was really hard to let myself feel anything other than anger, because anger I've always been good at feeling, you know. But letting myself cry just because I was angry, or I was upset, or I was unhappy, or that, was, we talked about this in early episodes, for me was just a no-go, because that's how I was raised. You don't cry because if you cry, you're showing your weakness, right? Or like how we were raised, you get a spanking, you stop your crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry about if you don't stop your crying. Like, I'm fucking crying because you just gave me something, But so and then two, learning to differentiate the different emotions. Like, you can cry because, and I know that now. You can cry because you're happy. You can cry because you're sad. You can cry because you're upset. There's a difference between sad and upset.
Frustrated.
You can cry because you're frustrated.
I do that, yeah.
You can cry because you're mad. Like learning these different levels of emotion, and because for me, there was always, really up until we started all this, was and my rituals helped me a lot with this, was black and white. You were happy or you were sad. You were mad or you were okay. There was no in between. For me, there's never been a lot of gray, and that's just because that's how I was programmed. But now I have learned, dude, there is like a whole fucking rainbow, if you will, of emotions.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel them.
Yeah.
And that for me was the hardest part. And I think it's been also hard for my husband to discern, like, if I do, like now, we'll watch something or I'll be reminded of something. Um, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. Um, when we were watching the soccer game in Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did a panorama outside the stadium and they showed the old Astrodome, and I was like, "Oh my God," and I got tears in my eyes because my dad used to take us there when we were little and we watched baseball games. And at that moment, my husband asked me something and I couldn't even answer because I was just like so caught up in the emotion of reliving walking through the Astrodome and standing up in the seventh inning stretch and singing with my dad during the baseball games and buying hot dogs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
um and so like I said, it was hard, and of course he didn't know what was going through my head. So he was like, "What's wrong with you?" So
He's
once
like, what
once
happened?
once I finally got myself under control and was able to talk to him, he was like, "Oh, okay." I don't know what he was thinking. He didn't say, because that's all he said was, "Oh, okay." But I mean, that for him is also very new. Is to see me allow myself to feel an emotion. You know, um, because before, even when I had tears in my eyes, I was usually yelling at the same time too, because I was really fucking pissed off at something. um Not him, but just something or somebody else, because that was just my way of dealing with it, because I did not know any other way
Mm-hmm.
to deal
You
with
weren't
it
taught.
you
You
know
weren't
yeah,
showed
I wasn't
that.
taught, I wasn't shown.
Yeah.
um Now I know better. I just write your name on a piece of paper. I'm not gonna burn that shit.
That was
So that was the hardest part for me,
I don't know if
and
that was a
still is.
part of my healing, but yeah, the that was that
That was a big part for me.
learning like to have an emotion and sit with it instead. For me, it was okay. I'm sad, but no, you're not. Don't cry. You can't cry. That's fucking weak, you know. And then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of dismiss it and you let things build up
Right.
to that one drop of water, and then you freaking explode.
Right.
That was for me what I did also, being a mother with my kids, because in this moment you and they and that's just they just spilled a glass of water, and in this moment that was that little drop of water that
That
you
was the
just
straw that broke the
explode,
camel's back.
and you're like,
Right.
"Whoa!" And they're like sitting like, okay, it's just, they're like, what the fuck, it's just water. They're
Right.
thinking maybe, but it's not really just the water, it's everything in that glass, or
Yeah.
and then and they don't know that.
Yeah.
And so learning, okay, you freak the fuck out, it doesn't even matter if it's your kids, your husband, your best friend, doesn't matter.
Right.
What you need to do is you need to apologize.
Yeah.
And you go, I'm sorry, I yelled, it wasn't necessary, it was just
Right.
a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how hard it was for me to go to my daughter the very first time and apologize for yelling at her? You think my mom would have ever done that to me? That was so hard. So
I
hard.
know.
But the more I started doing it and realizing, because it wasn't the glass of water, it was everything in it, and looking back, maybe it was that for my mom too.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of, she should have said, hey, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. It doesn't even matter. I hit you. I'm sorry I yelled at you for spilling. For it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah.
You
It
know what
doesn't
I
even
mean?
matter.
What
Yeah.
it was, and every time I said that, I'm like, I'm sorry. And just so they know that they don't have to sit and like saying you're sorry, dude. That was fucking hard. Even just, I was wrong. You know how hard, anybody can say they're right.
Yeah.
It takes a really strong person to admit that they were
Yeah. To
wrong,
say, hey, I was wrong.
and even
Sorry.
say it and say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's try and fix it. You can say it won't happen again. Hopefully it won't, but it sometimes it does. Maybe it won't.
Right.
That was something that I worked on a lot. That
Mm-hmm.
I stopped exploding on my kids, because I had to learn to feel whatever emotion it was.
Right.
And it's not holding on to it, it's feeling it.
Right.
And it's like a balloon. You let it go.
Yeah.
And the next emotion's gonna come. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna sit with it, and then you're just gonna let that go too.
Right.
And it helps so much. I mean, other things like meditation have helped me a lot. You know.
That's me sitting, just meditating, sitting with my incense and a candle, or my handpan music, or doing the chakra meditation.
That's one of my favorite meditations.
Yeah,
the chakra
I do that a lot with my rehab classes. They really like that. My 1700 one, they really like that because it doesn't take long. I mean, with them, I take like a good 15 minutes because I do the guidance myself.
Okay.
But I basically do the same thing that the one that we listen to does, but I just add in a couple of things like when you do like the root, the color's red, think about like a fire and feel the warmth. And then when you come up to like the solar plexus, it's yellow, think of the warmth from the sun. Or the throat chakra is blue, think of the sky. Indigo, think of the night sky with the stars.
That's crazy because I do that when they're like, it's a glowing blue ball of light, and then I'm like, I'm thinking of the sky at that moment, and green for the heart. I'm like,
okay, so we had a small technical difficulty there. Anyway, we were talking about chakra meditation and the colors, and I was going to tell Jennifer. So when I think of, the heart chakra is green, right? And the green that I think of is, do you remember the sea fire from Game of Thrones? It's like this almost neon green. It's like fire so hot it burns green. And in Game of Thrones, they have like these barrels of some kind of.
Oh yeah, you mean like where they
the
church?
Stuff they, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and that green.
Oh yeah,
that's the green I think of.
Okay. Nice, different greens over here.
So we were riding the mountain bike yesterday, and we ride with special glasses, right? And they look yellow, but what they do is they intensify the colors more, or they shade your eyes depending on. So it's really good, like when you're riding through the forest and there's like all of a sudden it's like sunlight, and then nothing, right? So we're riding through this one section, and there was grass like in the middle and on the sides, and it was like the normal green, and then with these glasses there were little plants, and they were like neon green. I even like took my glasses off at one point to see like, are they really that green? But it was just the effect from the lenses, like this neon green. That's that's like for me the heart chakras.
But meditation helps. But then I was like I just said, when we had the little break here because of some technical difficulties, whatever, I was like, one of the things that I still need to work on is road rage. I've gotten better at that.
Better. I know one of my work colleagues, of course, he's a lot younger than I am. He's 24. He said to me last week, patience. And I was like, yeah, it's not my strong point.
Yeah.
Not my strong suit.
It's not, patience is a virtue.
I was trying to put, so those plastic cups we have for the matcha?
Yeah.
And I was trying to put, and they have like a round cup. So for those of you in the States, think of like the plastic cups at 7-Eleven where you put the Slurpees, and it's got the plastic cup with the hole in the top. Put the fucking top on the... And he comes and he's just like, pop. And I'm like, how did you do that? And he showed me a couple of times. It does not work for me. It does not work for me. So what I've started doing is, before I go into work, and even before I have to do one of these things, is I say, it gets to be easy for me. And I'm talking about this.
You're talking about the lid for the cup.
Talking about the lid for the cup. And I'll say that even like before I put, and then I just like, press it on, pop, and it's okay. So I'm like figuring out little ways to.
Well, when you start actually getting upset about it and like frustrated, it doesn't even happen at all. Then
that's why he told me, because I was like so. And there's like fucking line of people out the door,
and then you have that.
And so I was like, put the lid on for me. He was like, patience. And I was like, fuck that, I ain't got no patience right now, man. Put the lid on. But I'm getting better.
It's like, yeah, that would be also like, oh my gosh, trying to get, like
yeah, because like you said, the more frustrated you get, or the more stress you cause yourself, the harder it is to get it done. I tell you, go off on a tangent here real quick and tell you a story about when I was in basic training. Right, when you're in basic training, you always have a battle buddy. It's the person you got to look out for.
Yeah,
right?
I think you told me about that before.
And
didn't they pair like a crack?
Yeah, they paired like this really heavy guy with this really skinny guy, and the heavy guy had to give him half his food, and the skinny guy had to eat all that. Anyway, so my battle buddy, she was going to be a nurse, and she's really skinny and really frail, and she's a girly girl, which isn't a bad thing, but she was also very hectic, very, like she gets stressed out really. So, and the drill sergeants come, they start yelling. And for me, the yelling was like,
I'm used to that.
Yeah, no. Compared to my mom, you ain't gonna hit me. You yell all you want, So she would like, get very, like freaked out and stuff. And she like, so I remember one day we were supposed to get out of the barracks, and she couldn't get her locker shut, And I was like, dude, just calm down. Yeah, but he's coming. I was like, let him come. Just calm down. Look, let me do it. Just, all you got to do is push it up and turn the dial. Then we ran out, right? I mean, and he made us drop and do push-ups anyways, because, we were running late. But that was, and I think of this all the time, like the more stress you cause yourself, like when you're going to work, right? And there's a traffic jam. Fuck, I'm going to be late. Fuck, I'm going to be late. Fuck, I'm going to be late. And by the time you get to work, you're so fucking stressed out. Why? You did it to yourself. Like last week that happened, right? I called, hey, there's a traffic jam. I'll be there as soon as I can. I'm on my way. I can't get off the highway and go any other way, I'm not gonna stress myself out. Yeah. I sent you a message. I called my husband. Hey, I'm sitting in a traffic jam. Where are you at? And he's like, where are you on a traffic jam? Like I thought you're going to work. And then I got there with 3 minutes to spare.
And so that's going back to, these are circumstances out of your control.
Right.
So if there's circumstances out of control, you can't control that. You can't control how other people drive, and they made an accident. So there's only one lane open, traffic slowing down. Mm-hmm. What you can control is how you deal with that.
Right. How you react to it, right?
You're going to stress yourself out more, mm-hmm. or you're going to be like, I called work. You can't do anything more. Right. You can't do telekinesis and, I don't know. You can't do anything to make the traffic, you can just be... That's one of the things too. It's like, I have more than enough time. Mm-hmm. I leave on time every time I go to work.
Right.
With 5 minutes to spare, always. Mm-hmm. And I'm in my car like, oh, idiot! And I'm like, well, wait a minute, I have enough time. Right. I always get there on time. Mm-hmm. Remember that one time I was here and I was like, oh fuck, there's 4 people signed up. I gotta go now.
Right.
And I called and let them know. Mm-hmm. I drove chill because I already called them. They know.
Right. They know you're on your way.
They're gonna start. My appointment may start like 5 minutes later, but then there's no class after that. My class, so I can also go 5 minutes over. Mm-hmm. It would be a little bit stressful if it wasn't.
Right.
But you go there and everybody's like, "That's all. It's okay."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because but you're stressing yourself out, and then all the other people are like, "Dude, chill, calm down. It's all good." Traffic. Right. We get it.
Well, I think too, even like letting other people stress you out, you have control over that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where I work, and sometimes we get backed up because, there's 10 people waiting in line. So we have like, 10 to 15 drink orders, depending on how many drinks each person ordered. We have one machine, and I can make possibly 4 coffees on that one machine.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Like they're going,
and that's only if everybody orders 4 espresso drinks. Mm-hmm. If they order a large drink, then that's 2 espressos. One side of the machine is gone. If I have 2 large drinks, the machine is blocked while I'm waiting on your espressos to come out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, if I have a lot, and people will be like, I ordered my drink. Yeah, I understand. But, I can only make so many drinks at one time. I said the other day, I said to a customer, I can only work as fast as the machine works. Because the machine is pre-programmed, right?
Yeah.
So an espresso shot takes like 20 seconds to go through. I can't make it go faster than 20 seconds, dude. And it's 20 seconds. You know what I mean?
When you're waiting on something, though,
exactly.
Time is like slow.
Yeah. But you know how customers are.
Oh,
people will be like, where's my coffee? Or yesterday I had a lady, she ordered decaf coffee. So the decaf coffee is a different machine.
Yeah.
Right? And it takes a while because it's basically like what do you call it in English? Full automat?
I don't know.
No. It's got beans and it's got to grind the beans and it makes a coffee. So that's the decaf machine, right? So I have to turn it on because it constantly turns itself off.
Okay.
And then I have to have it do the coffee, and it's a regular coffee, it's a crema. It's not like filter coffee that's already been brewed. It's not, an espresso that comes out in 20 seconds. This coffee takes about a minute to brew, right? Dude, you gotta wait on your coffee. So when I'm brewing the decaf,
you start making other orders.
I've made other orders, and so like by the time one decaf brews, I've made like 2 or 3 cappuccinos. And so I put the coffee out that already is done, because why should I let your coffee get cold, just because the decaf isn't done brewing? But I ordered a decaf. I understand that. And your decaf is brewing right now. As soon as it's done, I'll put it out here for you. By the time her decaf was done, I had like 5 other coffees. And she was pissed. I was like, you ordered a decaf. It takes as long as it takes. I can't make the machine go any faster, like chill the fuck out, like you don't know how many times a day I want to say, calm your tits, Karen, like, and if you're named Karen, sorry about that, but Karen and Kevin, those names got bad raps.
I don't like that name. But that's personal for me.
So much for that tangent. Anything else? Hardest, like I said, for me, that was so going back to our question, the hardest part of healing that people probably outside this experience might not understand. Like I said, for me, was dealing with the emotions and allowing myself to deal with the emotions.
Allowing yourself to feel an emotion, because that's something we were never taught.
Right.
I was never taught you can cry.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's either
you're being happy. Like when I was happy, it was always, don't be so loud.
Happy or like angry. Those are like the 2 common emotions that I was shown as a kid. Like being happy, it's okay. And being mad, of course, how many times has your mom been mad at you and fucking, smacked your ass around? But or
just ignored you.
But the emotions in between, because like you said, there's more than just happy and mad.
There's like a whole rainbow, if you will, of emotions.
And dealing with those. I'm like I said, it's an ongoing process. It's not like, okay.
That's why I said it's still hard for me sometimes, to there are days when I wake up and I'm like last week, I think it was that I told you, I just feel like blah, but I don't know why. I don't know if it was the new moon or I don't even remember.
But sometimes
if I figured it out. But trying to name what is this blah.
And that's sometimes too where I'm like, sometimes it's just that.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to have
just blah.
a reason. It
doesn't have to have a name. It doesn't have to have a reason.
It's okay that I'm not okay today because tomorrow's different.
Right.
But in that day, it's like, it's okay that I'm. And it was the weather. It was rainy. It's like you had a funky dream, but you don't remember it. But maybe that's there's a couple of different reasons why.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm blah today, and I can't.
That was one of the things I told you. Like for me, my big thing right now is knowing that I'm on the right path and trusting it. Not having to check the map every 5 minutes, like or look, are we still there? Are we still there? Are we still on the right? I have to trust the process, and say, like you said, Some days you're going to wake up and be blah, and there's not a rhyme or a reason. You don't have to control every single emotion, minute, whatever, sometimes you're just blah, like you said, you didn't sleep good, you had a bad dream, or the weather, who knows, sometimes it's just
But I mean, that's
like
there's
that,
times where you can pinpoint and be like, I'm blah. You know why? Because it's my father's birthday. Because
right,
it was
yeah.
this. Because it was that, and you can pinpoint it. So then, but yeah, and
I mean, most of the time I know, why, but you know,
to still go about my day, and be like, okay, let me get up, maybe do something. Let me go for a walk. That always helps me. If I go for a walk in the nature, and
what was it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Right.
I saw that. That's one time. There was somebody on a. I'm pretty sure it's TikTok because was somewhere on social media, and it was like you're trying to motivate yourself to get up, and it helps me a lot. It's you just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then you get up and you do it, or you do another. It does help me. Sometimes I'm just like, or you're on your phone, you're scrolling, and it's hard to get off then because it's just easy to keep scrolling, and I'm like, no, stop. And I'll take it off, and I'll stand up, and I'll be like, go into a different room, change the energy, change your surroundings, because it's energetically like different. So go in the kitchen, freaking fuck, go in the bathroom, right? Even if you don't have to go bath and pee or something, change the room. It's different energy,
right? Open a window, open the door.
Go outside. Open the front door and just be like, what's going on outside? Hello? No. Look out the window. The nosy neighbor.
The neighbors are like, oh, Jennifer's bored again. She's looking outside. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think.
You want to do another question? Well, we're at about 45 minutes right now.
Oh, okay. Are you on this one?
No, I was reading the one right underneath it.
Sorry, we're reading so there's a couple questions on this sheet of paper that we're reading. No, sorry for the silence, because that people will be like, is it over? What is going on? There's like a couple seconds of silence. That's like when you're sending me a voice message and all of a sudden it's silent. I'm like, what's going on? And you're ending and you're like, what? Yeah, sorry girl, I was drinking, I was thirsty. I'm like, oh, okay. Because for a minute I'm like,
I'm either drinking water or try not to have road rage because there's some stupid idiot in front of me. So, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple on here, but and nothing that I don't think I've ever have not said in former podcast episodes. I mean, former podcast. Because I'm just on so many,
right?
If your younger self could speak freely back then, what do you think she would have said? Fuck this shit. No, I did though.
I was gonna say, I think we said that enough.
I don't know about my younger self. It's like, what does it mean? Like my toddler, or like, okay, it was like 8, 9, maybe even 10 years. That how old I was when that happened to me. To teenager where I rebelled. That was just what I did.
Right.
I went against any and everything with my parents. I'm like, nope, nope, fuck that, nope. Yeah. Like, I was just like, ain't telling me what to do. I'm a teenager.
You ain't the boss of me.
Yeah. As long as you live under my roof, you're gonna obey my rules.
That's why I left home at 18. Anyway.
Me too, because I moved the fuck out.
Like, yeah, okay, we'll see about that. Peace out. I don't know if anything my younger self would have said that I didn't say. You know what I mean? Because I had my mom always said I had a loud mouth.
Because I'm gonna say, like,
you don't know how many times she was like, "Oh, wash your mouth out with soap," and not because I was cussing. It was because I was just back talking all the time, or saying that's stupid, or I ain't doing that, or you can't make me do it. So, of course, she would prove me otherwise. Yeah. But
like, we spoke freely back then, but we were punished for it.
Yeah. Well, and I think from my side, maybe one of the reasons that we did speak so freely is because we were, negative attention is still attention, right? Right? So maybe it was just a part of our inner selves looking for that attention, or wishing, hoping maybe that the person of authority would figure out something's not right, or like my mom knowing something was not right, but chalking it up to her surgery, right? And not investigating further, you know. Um, and I mean, of course, I didn't speak out because, as we discussed in very early episodes, um, we were scared of my mom, and then we were scared of God, So, yeah, I didn't speak out, for fear, right? I don't know. I mean, that's just something that came into my head right now, is because you and I were pretty outspoken, when we were young. I mean, everything that, like, we talk about, um, and maybe it was just, our way of crying for attention, if you will, hoping, wishing that somebody would figure it out, or maybe, like in your case, believing what you said, and mine, then, investigating further, but never did. I don't know. Like I said, they just
Well,
popped
so
into my
like
head.
maybe up until this point where I did speak freely, but then I did that as a teenager too. I think, like in school and stuff. Like,
Right.
I always spoke my mind to the teachers, and like I said, my daughter does the same thing, and you get punished also in the school for that.
Yeah, definitely.
How dare you
look at me in the first grade. How could I corrected my teacher?
How dare you?
Because their English was wrong.
What's the word I'm looking for? How dare you?
Be disrespectful.
No, like contradict what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like like teachers can't be wrong,
right?
Which they can be.
Of course they can be. Yeah.
Teachers have like a god complex.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. Yeah. I'm not saying all teachers. I'm sorry. That's my experience.
Right.
I don't want to put
no, but I know what you mean. Like, when, like, I remember when I was going to school, and I mean, you and I went to school in
in the 90s.
Totally different times. I graduated in 90. So yeah.
You graduated 1990?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Because 1996. Yeah, 6 years later.
But it didn't matter if it was like elementary, junior high, or high school. If you questioned something,
yeah, exactly. It was questioning like authority.
I'm like, and it wasn't that I was questioning the teacher or the teaching method. I was questioning what the fuck was here on the paper, because I don't fucking understand it.
No, I questioned authority. Like, to the point to like where the teacher got pissed off at me and embarrassed me in front of the classroom, and I had a crush on this guy in my class, and he did it purposely, embarrassed me in front of the class.
Okay.
That's where I was at the school. This was the the private school, and because that's what I'm saying. Like, when the experience that I have, you question authority, they're gonna show you. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna show you. Yeah. You can't do that.
Right.
And he made me stand up in front. He embarrassed me in front of the whole class, and none of the they are all silent, and none of them laughed or anything, because they all probably thought the same thing. Like, what the fuck was that?
Right.
I got stood up. And I threw my shit. I think I even threw my book in the garbage and called him a fat ass or something. I don't know. Dude, I got in trouble for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody saw that he's the one who actually he misused his authority to embarrass me in front of my classmates.
Right.
Because I questioned his ability to be a teacher. So to speak.
Right.
I don't know. Sorry. Right. Just because you're a teacher don't mean you're fucking God. Doesn't mean you fucking aren't like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This is an experience that I've had. Also have heard that people in as being a teacher or even being a kindergarten, like they want to be in control. They want to have control. They want to control kids. They want to control and you, because you can do that. You can you know how many. Oh, it just upsets me so much when you hear like things that happen in like the kindergarten or the first grade, or just things of teachers, and I'm just like, seriously? And these people are in a authority position as a teacher for little kids,
right?
you know. And it just upsets me to no end the way they treat then the kids. And that's why I'm saying this is my experience. This is experience that I've had throughout my whole school, and also with my youngest daughter, because she is, like I said, she's a carbon copy. I'm not freaking lying. Like, and she questions, what the fuck, what do I need this for?
Right.
What this, that, you know? She asks questions, and because these motherfuckers don't have an answer for it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
To be just because, oh, I hated that. So you ask your mom, you know?
Yeah.
And the answer was because I said so.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of justified answer is that? Because why can't I go out? Why can't I spend the night at my friend's house on a school night? Because I said so. You know why they say that? Because they have no justifiable answer to tell you why you can't do that.
Right.
And because they don't, they're just like, because I said so, because I'm the mother, because I'm the father, because I said so. I have control over you. I have authority over you. And my daughter does the same thing to me too. Well, she'll be like, can I do this? And I'll be like, yeah, no. And why? And it's not because we're questioning. We want to know. We want to why. We just want to know why.
Right.
If you give us an answer like because right now I don't know, you know, blah blah blah, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool, get it. But because I said so, for me was never an answer.
Not an answer.
It wasn't never the a answer to your question. I mean, it was an answer, but it was like a really shitty one.
Right.
Like I'm because I said so. And my daughter would be like, that's so stupid. You know, I never said that to her, but like if I would give a reason, you know, why can't you do that? And she's like, I don't even get it. Blah 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 blah. And she will friggin' like, you know, she will sit down and make a PowerPoint presentation to like counter, but like why? Well, you know, if you did this, this, and this, and maybe and then you know, and we could like you could, you know, like she would argue argue that, you know, like, and
right,
like, I mean, there was a times where I think she spent the night on a school night at her friend's house and realized on the next day that she was so tired at school that she had decided from herself that she wasn't going to do that anymore.
Right.
And so I allowed her to experience what I'm trying to tell her. It's not that it's not you spending the night or any. It's about, okay, you spend the night, you don't go to sleep on time, you know, right. you're 12, 13 years old, you know, and you go to maybe to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to catch right. the bus, you know, go to school, and then you're in school, and then you're tired. It's like the whole, you know. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, do it. And then she, you know, she learned from her own experience that maybe that isn't such a good idea. Right. So I let her do that. Yeah. I remember though, my daughter, she was 18, and she's like, well, she had already started her schooling for what she was doing for her job, I think. And she's like 18, and she's like, Mom, do you think I can spend the night at my friend's house? I'm like, girl, you're 18. Make your own. It's like, I can't tell you what to do anymore. Right. Yeah, okay. But she asked me at 18, and I was like, you know, go, right. You're 18 now. I mean, I could tell you no, but why? You know, right. You'd still do it anyway. Right, exactly. But I was like, you're 18. You can, you know, if you want to go spend the night at your friend's house, you can get up in the morning and go to school or wherever it is you need to go. And right. She did, and that was it, you know. Right. But like, I mean, like, I remember like telling. My daughter was 18 and she moved out. She moved out? Why? Like, they think something's wrong. That's why she moved out with 18. And I'm like, isn't that our job as parents to raise our kids to be independent, so when they do decide to move out, why is it like 18 or 25? What's the difference? I mean, okay, maybe a little bit more maturity of, but she was 18. I was like, she's 18,
right?
I can't.
And then you have kids like my son. He's 23 today. He still lives with his dad, and he's like, I'm not moving out of daddy hotel. Yeah. Like, like why? He's paying the rent. But, I think they split I don't know if they split the rent or whatever, but, I mean.
Yeah, but she was 18. I can't tell if she can't move out.
He's got it good there. Because I was like, don't you want to get you like your own place? And he's like, I ain't moving out of daddy hotel. And I was like, well, So if y'all get along, then why not?
My youngest daughter, she's still at home. If she,
Oh, she's 16.
I know, but she'll be 17 this year.
Even though I know there's a lot of 16-year-olds here in Germany, they move out.
I think that she's not gonna be 18 and move out. I don't know, but it's one of those things. I was like, she's 18. I can't tell her she can't do anything because she's legally an adult.
Right.
That if I told her she can't move out, what if you?
Right.
Like, I could be like, hey, maybe it might not be a good idea. Mm-hmm. Maybe you stay here. I was like, dude, like. Anyways, that's why I'm like, what? Like, then they're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. I don't know how many people when my daughter was 18 and she moved out and they're like, she doesn't live at home. Like I was a bad parent. That's why she wanted to move out or something, And I'm like, well, first of all, she moved in with her boyfriend and right. She's an adult, and isn't that our mission? Right. We want our kids to be independent enough to move out on their own. Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's also kids who are living at home with 30. Yeah. Still in the mom's basement, in the parents' basement or something, Yeah. I'm not saying anything
I think here maybe the mentality is a little bit different just because people have bigger homes here and they are often separated into like different apartments, so you have like several generations living in one house. Yeah. Even though they have their own apartments. Yeah. I mean, but you have to have the house with the apartments first to do that. You know what I mean?
But even then, if they were like, I don't want that, I want to move out.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't want that, then yeah,
It's also like,
I mean, like my husband, he moved out when he was, I think, 19. And then moved back here. His mom was alive. I think he was in his mid-40s when we got together. Mm-hmm. And then we lived here in the house with his mom, right? But I mean, she was older then too. But I mean, there are several of the neighbors around here, I mean, they live in the house that they grew up in, but they have it like separated into apartments, right? Mm-hmm. So their parents live in one apartment, they live in another apartment, and like the neighbor here behind us, their son lives in another apartment.
I mean, it's also nice for
but, if you have the room and you can do that, why not? But hey, I mean, I know other neighbors, like one on the other side of the street. He's in a house with, I think there's 3 apartments, and he lives there all by himself. Mm-hmm. His kids moved out. They don't want to live here anymore. They like live in Frankfurt or some other bigger city or
I've heard of people. So like I know like a person who her neighbor, and then he has a son and a daughter, and then the son was like, no, I don't want to house, I don't remember, but no, they moved, mm-hmm. moved away. They wanted to, and then they were young. Mm-hmm. They didn't think, they want to go somewhere in a bigger city, right. More things to do. Mm-hmm. He ended up saying, oh yeah, I could see myself moving back because he started a family. Mm-hmm. So right. I mean, here where we live, it's called the Odenwald, mm-hmm. So like it's not a big city. It's more right. quiet and
villages.
You always say village.
There's no other word. It takes a village. There's no other word for it. A town. English. This is not a town. A town is bigger than where we live.
Small town?
A really small town. It's a village, dude.
Okay, well, it just sounds weird to me, the village people. We're village people. But it's you know, you have nature right outside your back door. I mean, depending on where you live.
Farms and cows and horses.
Yeah,
and
so like it's a different life than you know, big
deer,
city,
rabbits.
big city life.
Yeah.
You know that one song.
There's no
Okay.
big city life here.
No.
No.
That's why when you're young, you want
Around
to
like 8 p.m., there's no more traffic. You know, you only see people walking around. Maybe
even
there's a lot of people in the forest yesterday.
Uh-huh.
It was like 7 p.m. I was like, damn.
Uh-huh.
Like, cause it just cooled down or what?
Yeah,
There's
probably.
A bunch of people out.
Yeah, it's nice in the forest when it cools down. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's been a
Yeah, so that has been episode 23, answering a few questions for you. We hope that if you have not yet spoken out, that maybe our advice has helped you a little bit and you will take the first step. Yeah.
I know it's hard, but the first step is always hard. But once that first step gets done, it gets to be a little bit easier down the next step and the next step and the next step. But you know, that's always it's always up to that person if they want to or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's something, that's something that I could
yeah. But it has to be, I mean, you'll have to get it out either way, because if you don't, it just keeps poisoning you, and you're never going to be able to live up to your full potential and realize how happy you can actually be.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's nice.
So
that's a nice ending to
my thoughts.
So thank you for listening, and as always, like, comment,
we'd love to hear from you.
Questions. What was this? Something like where? Okay. Nope. Okay.
We've been doing this for a while, so we have too many sheets of paper now.
Okay. Too many. There was something I wanted to. So it says listener story up. Although Anyways, if you do have stories, of course, like I said, anonymously. So
let us know in the comments, and as usual, I will drop our social media tags in the description box. Until next week.
Bye.